Welcome to another edition of Nature's Glory Cabin Off-Road. Today we're going to be back in the backcountry byway again, and we're doing Punkin Hollow from the direction of Menifee County to Slade. It's actually called Punkin Hollow on the Menifee County side and Punkin Hollow on the Powell County Slade side. And here's a map where we start at the top. That's off of 713 in Menifee County. We're going south and the trail ends a little earlier and take another road out once we get there. And here we are. We're going to turn left onto Punkin Hollow on this end. And it's just a gravel road at the beginning, not a whole lot. There's some development being worked on back here. We'll speed this up in a second, try to get through some of the boring stuff. Again, they're doing a little construction back here, so you may have to watch out for a few things. Sometimes there's some equipment along the side of the road here. I cut out a bobcat there. So as you get a little further down, you notice the road goes up to the right. We do not do that. We go to the left. That's another development being built, and this is the actual beginning of the trail. It's not too bad at this point. It's just a muddy road through here. It does get a little harder as we get a little further into this. I would rate this direction with my Jeep the way it's equipped a 3. I didn't have to use any lockers. I do have a limited slip. More information about the Jeep down in the description. I do have another guy behind me. He's in a stock JKU Sahara edition. No lockers, no limited slip, nothing. For him, I might rate it a little higher, 4 to a 5. He said he did bang his skid plate a couple of times in a couple places. Going in this direction, it seems to be a little easier. Looks like I'm changing into 4-wheel drive right now. When we get to the other end, I'll show you why it's a little harder coming from the other direction. And I do have another video coming soon that shows that. It's a little rocky here, some ruts. This is December the 10th, 2022. The last time I did this, the video I posted, it was much easier, it was much drier, and I came from the other direction, and I rated it pretty low, like a 1 or a 2. It was very easy that day. Anybody could have done it. You can still do this in a stock vehicle, but you may have a little more trouble on a few things. Like I said, person with me banged a skid plate a couple of times, but otherwise than that, he got through everything. 4 high and 4 low, depending on where you're at. A lot of times I use 4 low just for control, and most of this stuff is kind of sped up, so you really can't tell exactly how fast we're going. I think we're a little slowed here, normal speed, and every now and then I stop and kind of wait on him to catch up, make sure he gets through some of these things. He does not have a lift either. I think he has a leveling kit which raised the nose up about a, I don't know, ½ inch to an inch, but that's about it. And here we continue to go. And you'll notice the weather washes some ruts out through here, and you gotta pick your way through and figure out what best for you. It's not real hard. Get you a little twisted a little bit, front end down, back end up, and vice versa. You can see on the left side, picture in a picture, how it's a little bit up and down. And you see this big island in front of me, and I stay to the left. A lot of times I might go a different direction just for me, but I'm making sure that he can get through this knowing he's stock. He's kind of looking at that where I went through. He wasn't paying attention when I went through it to see what line I took. If you watch him here, his left front wheel comes off the ground when he goes just about ready to do it. Like, here it comes. There it is. Left front wheel came off the ground. He did not disconnect the sway bar. I did do that. It does make it a little easier. And we're coming up to a rock up here. I don't know, 6-inch rock, something like that, 6 or 8. And if you pick your way around these things, you can get around them most of the time without too much trouble. Rocky on this side, even though it's wet, being rocky, it makes it a little easier than just slick mud. And we work our way up the hill. and I'm stopping, let him catch up a little bit. Always make sure you can see the vehicle in front of you and behind you. If you're the leader, you need to make sure you can see whoever's behind you. And we did have GMRS radios. We were in contact with each other, so we knew where we were. But somebody brakes and you drive off, and you have to go back and find them. And we're moving right along here, a little muddy here and there, but again, moving along pretty well. I lose him in the picture every now and then when I get around the corner. Can't see him very well from behind. So there's some more rocks here. He didn't say exactly where he banged at, but I'd say a couple of these might have been where he did it at. So here we go, keep going up. There's a few rocks here and there, nothing unsurmountable. Be sure to check out the description. There's a lot of information in the description about the area and what I'm doing, the Jeep, and more links to other things as well. Again, it's the Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway in Slade, Kentucky, in and around Slade. It's not all in Slade. And we're almost to the top. Little rock here to climb over. Just about a touch there. Again, I'm only running 4 high. I don't have any lockers turned on or anything like that. I get straddled on this rock up here waiting on him, and I don't pay attention to where I stop at, and when I go to take off, it slips a little bit. So I'm sitting here running. There we go, spinning. Because I was straddled that rock when I stopped. If I'd have kept going, that wouldn't have happened. And notice the white marker for Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway there up on the right. You'll see those, that way you know you're on the trail. And I sped this up now. We're on top of the hill, and this is pretty much just a muddy road. And we'll start going down the other side here in a minute. I try to let you see almost all of the trail. I don't just show the action most of the time, because I think it's important you can see something, see how hard it would be for you to do. I don't think you should do this one on your own unless you're very experienced and your equipment is very good. I'm running a 3 1/4 inch lift, and I'd prefer not to do it alone. So we're coming down the other side now, and I'll slow it down here in a minute. There's the first big mud hole going down the hill. Okay, here we go. Now this coming the other direction when it's wet. It's not real wet today. It's still drier than it normally is, but it does get wetter, and this mud is slick. So we continue on down this hill. You'll notice we'll get a little off camber here. You can see him in the back. He's a little further back than you can't really see him when he goes into that hole. So this whole front end kind of drops straight down. We go off camber here just a little bit and come down the hill. Notice the water we push out going ahead of us, and you'll see him go off camber a little bit here into this hole. And that's the worst of it. There's still some water and some mud, and there's still a few things to see. We'll go down through here, and eventually I'll speed it up again. This trail took us about 45 minutes, about 45 minutes for the two of us, start to finish on this trail. Again, I think this direction is the easier direction, especially when it's muddy. That hill we just came down is really slick when it's really muddy. And at the moment, it's just like a muddy dirt road with rocks. I wouldn't say gravel road because there's no gravel back here. If you want an off-road shortcut, this takes you between Frenchburg and Slade, and you avoid the tunnel, the Native Tunnel, going through 77, and it can be fun. You notice up here on the right, looks like there's somebody's property. This is just like any other road. These are all decommissioned county roads in the backcountry byway. So on either side of this is private property, so you need to stay on the trail. And again, if nobody's been on the trail in a while, other things can happen, like there could be trees down, so you need to be prepared. I believe I have my battery-powered chainsaw in the back on this trip right now, because you don't know how the conditions can be. Most of the major rides, they go out a day early and start clearing debris off, if there is any, so that when we take the main rides, we don't have to stop and move trees unless something happens overnight, which it could happen. I mean, it's a forest. As we go on down through, you can see where there's been some trees fell on the right and they've been cut off to get them off the road. There's a big one there. It fell over the other way. It may eventually end up in the road when it finishes falling down. A little washout here and there. Need to watch for these especially, because these things can grow. That one's not too bad right now, but depending on weather and how often it's used, and they can get bigger and make them more treacherous to cross. There's some pipes here and there. This country had a lot of oil wells back in the day, and there's still a lot of pipes laying around from that. None of these mud holes are terribly deep, 6 inches maybe. You can see me go off camera there a little bit. Off to the left is a creek. Sometimes it had more water than others. And you watch behind me, you can see where I came from. See him following me up in the rear. I think I sped this up a little bit. I don't think I was driving this fast. You really don't want to go very fast. I mean, you can drive as fast as you like, as fast as you think it's safe. It can kind of beat you to death. It's kind of rough. The ground in this country is very rocky, so there's not a lot of topsoil, so the water doesn't get real deep most of the time. Good solid bottom. Go through here, and I think there's a kind of a nice looking rock. We can go through one, past one on the right, and another one past one on the left. If you like geologic formation, this area's got a lot of it. The land of natural bridge and sky bridge and all kinds of things like that in this area. Even rock climbers come up here. Not right where we're at here, but other places. And there's a stream going across the road, trail. And most of the time we're zipping right along here. This is a pretty even road now. We're getting close to the end, but there's still a couple of things worth noting as we get to them. I'll tell you what they are. This time of year, off to the side, there's not a lot to see. There's not a lot of wildlife. We're too noisy. I'm sure the wildlife is there. I have seen deer off to the side on occasion. For the most part, you see on this side, once we get out of the mud down the hill, it actually was a much nicer road, and here it is pretty nice here too. We're zipping along, and oh, there's a mud hole. It's not very deep, but always slow down because you don't know how deep it is unless you've been there. Again, I've got this sped up. I did not drive through as fast as it appeared. I condensed this 45-minute ride down to about 20 minutes. Probably could have sped it up more, but here we go through a stream. Kind of fun to ride through a stream. If I sped it up any more, I think, in my opinion, doesn't show as much. So you're always welcome to fast forward yourself. Okay, here we're coming up on a water crossing. If you look at the water, you can see there's a drop-off on the left side. If you stay real close to that rock, you won't drop off. That drop-off is only about 6 or 8 inches, so you should be able to cross even if you drop without any trouble. I've seen stock vehicles fall over in that and still get through it with no problem. So we're going to stay as far to the right as we can. We're not going to drop in it. Again, it's no big deal if you do, just drive on. That's the first indicator we're getting close to the end. I'm waiting on him to catch up, make sure he didn't have any problems in that water. Moseying right along here. We'll start speeding it up again in a minute. There's a little stream crossing. Again, not very deep, not this time. Need to pay attention to the weather. If it's rained a lot, you may have deeper water crossings, or you may have washouts in places that you can't cross very well. Again, for me, in this direction, I'd give this about a 3. 2.5 to 3. And his stock JK, he was probably more like a 4 to a 5 for him. Most stock vehicles, this would be approaching what they can do, their limits. There would be, if you were with a group that had plenty of equipment, I've seen stock vehicles do more when you had lots of good people around to spot. I didn't see a whole lot in this place to spot. Here we're coming up on some rental cabins. This might be a house to the right, I'm not sure. After we cross this creek coming up here on the left, there's quite a few A-frame style rental cabins that have just been built. I don't know any more about them than that. This area, just before the actual trail starts, is right here, is building up. So there's going to be some more construction going on around here. I sped that up, skipped some of it. We're going to zip on out of here. Most of this is just gravel road with a little stream crossing here and there, and it's shallow. Again, nice rock bottom, just not going to get any deeper unless the water rises. I'm going to move right along. If you notice off to the right, here's some more construction going on. I don't know what it's going to be exactly, but I suspect it's going to be rental cabins. This area has got lots of rental cabins. And we're going to move on out of here, get out to the highway, and I hope everybody's enjoyed the video. Appreciate a like and subscribe. Just come back and watch it if you want to. We're getting close to the end here. We end up coming out at the main road up here. It's Punkin Hollow if you read the sign right here. You can see it there just a little bit. And this is Upper Cane Creek Road. Make a left and go back towards Slade. Thanks for watching.